हॅलो.
हां, त्यांचं पोस्टर शेअर करा ना स्क्रीनवर
हो,
राइट
हो,
ना.
तेच
हां,
करते.
हां.
हो, तेच करते.
ओके.
Yeah. Good afternoon. A warm welcome to all the attendees and panelists to the second day of the webinar series, Story of an Architect's Daughter. Today, I would like to read an excerpt from a Marathi book, Baap Leki. बाप आणि लेकी त्यांच्यातल्या पारस्परिक नातेसंबंधातली सुप्त क्षमता नव्या शक्यता सिद्ध करत असतात. अद्याप अशा जोड्या सरसकट झाल्या नसल्या तरी तशा अपबंधांमध्ये लक्षणीय प्रमाणात भर पडते. विशिष्ट शैक्षणिक, सामाजिक, सांस्कृतिक स्तरांत का होईना बाप लेकींमधला संवाद, सहभाग, खुलेपणा आणि गोडवा वाढतोय ही वस्तुस्थिती आश्वासक आणि उमेद वाढवणारी आहे. परिवर्तनाच्या प्रक्रियेत सामील होणाऱ्या आणि परिवर्तनाविषयी आस्था बाळगणाऱ्या सर्वांनाच इच्छित गतीनं आणि इच्छित प्रमाणात आपल्याला निकडीच्या वाटणाऱ्या सुधारणा होत नाहीत ही कटू सत्य अंगवणी पाडून घ्यावं लागतं. बाप लेकींमधलं नातं मंद गतीने का होईना सुधारतंय. ह्याबद्दल उभे आडवे झिरपतेत. एवढं दिलासा या मंथनातून मिळालं तरी स्त्री स्वातंत्र्याच्या ज्येष्ठ उद्गात्या विद्या बाळा म्हणतात त्याप्रमाणे तेवढा एक पावसाचा ढग खाली एक हिरवा कोंब फुटायला आपल्याला पुरावा. So what I take away from this excerpt is that such a relationship between a father and a daughter, in spite certain difference of opinions, they can still accept each other and grow together. It is the give and take of knowledge, the sharing of thoughts and ideas, which makes such a partnership invaluable. I, Malika Rajwade, on behalf of ROAD, welcome our duo, architect Pooja Zafarkar and architect Sanjeev Joshi. Welcome to both of you.
Hi.
Hello, sir. So I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our speakers. Pooja Zafarkar is the founding partner at M+P Architects Collaborative. Her role is defined by her passion for design, the wish to make all things right, and the spirit to work hard towards achieving those goals. She graduated from Siagat College of Architecture, Pune in 2002 as a first ranker. She has the opportunity to get mentors like Sanjay Mohe, Rahul Gore, Chitra and Vishwanath Shrikante, and Sanjeev and Meeta Joshi. She did a postgraduate diploma in Natural Resources Management and Restoration under the able teachings of ecologist Professor Gore. This course defined much of what her practice envisions today. Pooja believes that curiosity combined with good academic skills have helped her immensely. She likes to write and to learn from professions other than architecture. Her father, Sanjeev Joshi. Sanjeev Joshi graduated from Sir J.J. College, Mumbai in the year 1982. Worked in a British architectural firm in Sultanate of Oman for 5 years from 1984 till 1988. Before setting up a practice in Pune in 1989 with his wife Meeta Joshi. Interested in all forms of fine arts like calligraphy, painting, pottery, and photography. His philosophy is live and let live. So welcome to both of you. And I request sir and ma'am to please commence the discussion. So all yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We would like to establish certain facts to begin with. So we are going to make it slightly visual. So what we're going to do is we'll be showing some photographs of Sanjeev Meeta Joshi architects. where my wife Meeta is also partner, and the work belongs to both of us. In fact, it belongs to our company. And then we'll be showing M+P's some projects photos, so you know the difference or you know the similarities. That is up to you to how to decide whether it is similar or there is any take from our works or it's a total contrast, whatever it is. So we will start with some visuals.
So let me say that this opportunity came up from Girish Doshi. He had messaged us, and initially when the subject came of dad and daughter, I thought it was me who was supposed to interview my dad, because him being a celebrity and the senior architect and excellent at his work. And I prepared a long questionnaire of some 20-30 questions. How did you graduate? What did you study? Where did you work? And about a week ago, he sent another message. It was like a googly googly ball, and I was totally stumped because he said, "Oh, this is a daughter's perspective." So it completely changed my whole plan.
So I'm the one who is interviewing her.
So yeah, so he has turned the tables, and I'm not so used to talking about my work, and I guess he's also not as used to talking about his daughter. So we'll take it as it comes. So initially, I'll just run you very quickly through some of our works. Yeah, so
these are Sanjeev Meeta Joshi's works.
these are my dad's works, and let me say this just doesn't do justice to the 35 years of practice that they are. 35 is it?
Yes.
Yeah, equivalent to my age. And this must be barely like last 5-6 years, but this is what I could pick up just to give you an impression as to the scale and I mean, it's for you to make the impressions actually, not for to put any words on it. Okay, so this is where I work with my friend Meghna. We are M+P Architects Collaborator, and our initial being is actually our website where we sincerely put up all our projects. So this is just a little snapshot of our office, and then some of our projects.
This is in Ghana.
Yes, this is in Ghana. But I mean, I don't want to make a presentation of my work.
No, but if you talk of Ghana later, they will at least realize that this is what.
Yes. So that was Ghana. This is close to Pune. This is somewhere near Nashik. So this is Meghna and I together. This is M+P's works. Some interiors, again more architecture. Just trying to show variety of materials, locations. This was in Madhya Pradesh, Khandwa. This was some school. This was a redesign of a house. This was one of our latest very tight budget projects. So yes, getting back to our questionnaire that my dad did.
Yeah. Now, basically, what I would like to ask you is, I want to know your pre-college phase, that is schooling, or maybe childhood. When did you realize that okay, our parents do this type of work, or they're architects? What does architect mean? What's the type of work they do, and what do you remember? What age you started enjoying this, or started realizing this is?
Well, actually, because I was always surrounded by my mom and my dad, both being architects, it was always in the house. Good thing was that the house always was very nice. I'll show some pictures of that also just after I answer this. But the pillow covers, the way the house was kept, one wall was very nicely painted. My mother's excellent with flower arrangements and just keeping the house really well. And their, I think that style quotient is really superb. So I sort of grew into it, even if it is picking up anything, maybe it's a glass, it's a frock, whatever, but there would be, okay, no, this is nice and this is not that nice. So that sort of that design choice sort of visual language did get imbibed. And later when I realized, I used to go for site visits with my parents. And maybe I would play with some carpentry blocks in some corner, or just tag along. So 2-3 projects which I very clearly remember was they had done a factory for Hallmark cards, and I remember that because then I would boast to my friends that when I would be card shopping at Gritoel stores, I would say Hallmark cards were designed by Sanjeev and Meeta Joshi. So with that pride, I would tell that, Hallmark cards of my parents' work. And which other projects I think that made me realize you were architects. I guess I would always tag along to sites, and it was fun.
Sometimes we had nobody to take care of her, so we had no choice but to take her to site along with us. Probably not out of interest, but or to educate her. But as we had no choice, but so we used to take her along with us to site.
Maybe we should share some of those images. Yes, yes, that will be interesting. Huh? Yes, so this was my room, and if you can see that there's even the pillow cover had a nice Mondrian pattern to it, and just the colors, the simplicity. This was made with extreme tight budget,
Scale also.
and the scale was very nice. Our house at that time with the old TV and the old all the old equipment, and I'm showing some progressive pictures. So a little bit later, when we put in a little effort into the room with one change of color, maybe one desk, and of course, yes, my dad was very active in his, and he still is, with arts, and he used to go to Balwad Sir, and I used to tag along sometime for doing pottery, and then my dad also experimented with wire sculptures. He had this whole singing series of people, and my mother used to cleverly put them on shelves and all also, so there would be one man who was hanging with one leg down and singing over there, yeah,
So those were your influences when you
those were mainly the influences. My room at a later stage when I was an architecture student, and that was my room, which most of my batchmates and all, we all used to be here.
We used to get a lot of complaints because the friends used to gather in this terrace and they used to play songs and guitar and whatnot. And at night, the neighbors would complain most of the times. Okay, tell them to stop now. It's a quiet thing.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Now you tell me something about your other activities when you were in school, because I remember that you started getting interested in photography. You were into swimming. You were into dancing. Tell me something.
Well, I think I had a very normal childhood with a 5-6 hour school, and I would pretty much be playing on the streets. And I used to love swimming. I used to like dance. I was pursuing Bharatanatyam. And 10th and 12th, once you get into that rut of classes, and then school ends, and then you are trying to get into a good college for admission and all. So very quickly architecture admission happened, and that point was, I remember my 12th was done. I had scored like around 80s, and I was inclined towards engineering, but my marks perhaps said something different. My marks perhaps said that I'm better off at languages. And somewhere I remember that you were saying that you really want to get into architecture, and for me it was more like a backup that it will give me some more time at least.
No, my thing was that since both of us were architects, I thought I would have loved her to do something to do with design or related to design, like fine arts or maybe product designing and things like that. A design oriented thing, but not exactly architecture. It could have been fine arts or also something like that. But that was my wish. I mean, I never imposed that you do this or you don't do this. It was totally her decision. So my next leading will be what was your 12th and admission process for architecture? Was there any experience? Because I don't remember anything. I don't remember school days. I don't remember college days because she was on her own since she was.
And I think that was also the way of upbringing that I had. That you have to be independent and you do your own thing.
Yeah.
So there was no telling that this is what you should be doing. And so there was no such advice saying that you should try architecture. There was nothing like that. Even while filling the form for architecture also, there was no like which college you want to go to. I think they had asked, "Do you want us to come along and check colleges?" And I'm like, no, not really. I'll go alone, and I'll go with some friends. And so that was fine. And yeah, so as I said, architecture was more like a backup because I was a little confused. I was looking at some chemical engineering, which would have perhaps pushed me onto some petrochemical rig, and then I wasn't sure if I was okay with that sort of lifestyle. So I thought maybe it'll buy me 2-3 years. And for once I knew that architecture course 5 years gives you lots of time, gives you a opportunity to travel. And I had my parents so that backup helps, having your dad and mom doing well, doing whatever they're doing, and keeping you home. So that was, I think, the architecture. The college selection was a little different because I was keen on going to Bombay, but my parents wanted me around in Pune. And I got provisional admission in Siagarh while the other lists were coming. And I started going. Desai sir was there, and Nene ma'am was there. So very good professor. Kidwe sir was there. I'm really lucky. All these professors are now principals of so many different colleges. Vikram Hundekar sir was there. So all of them were there. And so it was good. And I sort of got settled in that 1 month that I spent at Siagarh. And after a month, we went to BKPS for the second list. And Kanvinder sir was really hoping that I joined BKPS. And by that time, I was so settled. I'm like, it's okay. It's a new college. So what? I mean, we are the first real batch there. But that went fine. And so I stuck to Siagarh in that. And yeah, I had a great time in college.
No, I remember Pushkar Kanvinder sir calling me after the second list was out, and you had got into BKPS also.
Yes.
So that time he called and said, "Why is not your doctor joining?" I said, "It's not my decision; it's her decision. But she wants to continue with Siagarh College of Architecture." And all now tell me the experience. Why you told me not to come to college when she joined the college?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I would really not like them coming to my college. So I would be extremely conscious if my father was invited or my mother was very keen on coming at times. So she would, I would say, you're not required. Even if, and for once, I was surprised that an architecture college also has a parent-teacher meeting. And I'm like, this is college. We have moved beyond school now. So I think one meeting we students.
Yeah, we did it in first year, one meeting, parents and teacher. And after that, we never went.
I think the students only demanded. We don't want our parents to socialize amongst each other. So let's just stop it there. And we were a good batch. I think that's what matters in college. If you had a good batch, all our seniors were great, our juniors were great, and it was a lot of. I think most of the Pune colleges also know that.
But you have not answered my question.
About
why you didn't want me to come to college?
I mean, no girl would want her parents to be around in college continuously. It already was a thing that you practically
you said
knew.
you had compared and you said some basic design.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, already my parents being architects, they more or less knew all the professors who were teaching us. And there were always some common contacts. But first time I realized how big they were in their profession was when one of the very initial basic design juries or sketching exercise, Vikram Hundekar sir was there and used to take our sketching exercises. And I had sketched something sadharan, not too great, but I thought it was okay. And he absolutely told me that Sanjeevji Mulgi means something better is expected of you. And for the first time, I realized that, okay, my dad's work has already created an impression and much more is expected of me. So that sort of made me conscious. And from then, I started becoming a little reticent about informing people that, I am Sanjeev Joshi's daughter. So I would very happily be slightly on the backbencher side.
Yeah, and she told me that I was teaching in some other colleges as a visiting professor that time. And I had taken few workshops and some juries in Siagarh College, also. But then when she said for next 5 years you are not going to come, then that time I also kept the promise, and I didn't go to Senegal College until she passed out.
I graduated.
You graduated, okay. Not passed out, sorry, you passed. Okay.
So, but of course, I never showed any of my work to him in college, and that used to his blood used to boil at times, especially even with time management, that night tomorrow and all this thing, and I would make such a big fuss, I have a huge submission and I have so much work to do, and he's like, "I फालतू पणा चाललाय." वेळेत काम संपवायचं, आम्ही तर तेवढं केलं होतं. We used to work simultaneously. He has worked all his years in college, and I did not do that.
What means apart from college,
Apart from
as a
college.
professional learning and part-time jobs.
Yeah.
Bombay has that culture where you finish your college at 2 o'clock and then you go to some office and work from 3 to 6. You earn some money also and you earn some experience also. Some might debate that it's not necessary as a student to learn because you are then your ideas are fixed, or there is no scope for improvement imaginatively. But we were working, so I knew that what architecture college is all about. So I was giving.
So his blood will boil, but I would not show him my work. And so he would always say, you can do things better, plan your time better. So only that much comment used to come once in a while at the dinner table. Otherwise, I'd quickly run up to my room.
Yeah, I mean, I was never involved in the design process or design improvement. Or she never showed her portfolios or exams. Whatever she has earned as marks, or what her professors think about her is totally her doing.
But I'll tell you where the advantage was. Like when I was looking for internship, his travel helped a lot because he is superb at looking at so many different works, always enthusiastic. So they also have a great group where they make plans, and then recently, so yeah, when I was young, I forgot to mention that there was one Europe trip which happened where these 5-6 architects, Giri Joshi, Sanjay Patil, my dad,
Ravi Gadre.
all of them did this grand Europe trip. I think my father I think you were quite influential in planning
Me
it.
and Jen planned it, and
Yeah.
everybody joined later.
Yes.
But it was after that everybody contributed a lot in managing. But the idea was floated by me and Jen.
Yeah. And then it also got featured in some magazines, the travel, their sketches, their experience. All of it was superb. And it was so impressive that even I had seen all those pictures. So as a young child, even before I joined architecture, I already knew some of these names, whether it was Mario Botta, whether it was Calatrava. I mean, I had heard all those names. So in my first initial 1 or 2 years of college, I used to always feel that, I already know this. So it took lesser effort for me to learn, and which is why I also took a chance to pursue other subjects. Like I was doing a diploma course in photography, a full year's intense course. So I did that and I enjoyed it. I was also pursuing French. I was also pursuing dance. So
This was when you were in architecture.
Yes, in architecture college. First year I mastered this photography course, and then also in dance and languages. So I think by third year, Desai Sir Studio, I was sort of finally convinced that maybe architecture is the calling and not something else, which I was looking at as a.
And around that time, you were involved in NASA also. What year was that?
Yes, second year onwards, I was involved.
You were some secretary also.
Yes, I was the USEC. So that was also actually a good reason to travel. And it helped me travel because that way my mom was quite conservative. She's sitting in the other room, and I think she's not able to listen.
I could call her here because
No.
but she just sitting.
No, it's okay. No, it's just that.
Okay, to you.
Yeah. So USEC, being a UC was great travel because our college would allow us leaves, would pay for our travel, and even if it was train travel, and it connected me to colleges across Pune, across Maharashtra, across India. So I came to know so many Bombay colleges, and those friends are still stuck with me, and I'm still in touch. So it sort of broadened my perspective of architecture also. I realized, Bombay colleges are better connected with what's happening abroad, about digital architecture, who are the big architects, what are the exchange programs happening. And Pune was always a little laid back, So, but even during our submission times, having access to BKPS library and MM's library was always good because you always knew somebody over there. which was the best thing about these.
And I
NASA.
think in taking part in such programs develop leadership qualities also in you, or maybe accommodative quality also. Not necessarily you, but anybody who takes part in that. It's a good thing to take part in such
It's a learning experience because it
fundraising, magazine making, and all
Yeah.
that becomes part of your
it
experience.
teaches you that you have to identify the people who are good at what they are really good at.
Yeah.
Somebody might be an expert at fundraising, somebody might be an expert at doing exhibition work, somebody might be an expert at lecturing. So it's, that was a great experience.
As a student, you learn a lot in student life itself, which probably helps in when you get into profession.
Absolutely. And even though I was not showing him his works, any of my works, like I said, he had done a Bangalore visit also, where he had seen several architects in Bangalore. There was Mistries and Mindspace and Shankar Kanade. So many projects that they had visited, and the folder was lying on his PC at that time, or I think there was physical albums.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at those while I was in college. I don't think I had mentioned it to him, but I think I was slowly looking at where I should apply for internship. And I was pretty sure that I did not want to be in Pune. So that is where his presence helped, because I already had so much in front of me. That my father had traveled to so many places, I could actually see and pick and choose. Okay, maybe I should apply at Mistries. Look at, he had already, I had some 15 photos of his projects, which I never otherwise would have had the opportunity to see. So that's how I applied, and actually I have my portfolio here. So this was the internship portfolio. I'm showing this because I believe that this talk is being watched by many students and architecture students. So my dad had told me that at that time people used to send CDs for internship.
Yes.
And
But it was not so much of online process that time. It was mostly you send CDs by mail and maybe a copy of portfolio.
yeah. So he had told me only one thing: Pooja, je kai patoshil na, make sure that it is small and it makes the first impression. Don't make the employer look through the entire CD and all.
No, my experience as a professional is that many students send such a heavy thing, the zip format and all that, so nobody bothers to open it. So I told her to keep it crisp and small so that they can open and see it in one go. So that was my advice to her.
So
And I stuck to that.
So I had sent a CD and I sent a few little prints like this with it. And on email itself, I had sent a very tiny attachment which I knew would 100% go. I think it was between 1 or 2 MB only. But that made an impression. And
Now
he
you
was
tell me where did you
absolutely right.
apply and how did you apply?
So I applied to a couple of firms in Bangalore, Mindspace, Mistry, and I got through to Mindspace. So I worked with architect Sanjay Mohe, Megappa, Sudhi, and all of
Do
them.
you have any photos to show of the college time? No, that you already shown.
College time I don't
No.
have. Maybe I'll show them at the end, because I
Yeah.
think the description is actually
Okay, fine.
good enough.
So tell me about your Bangalore experience while you were training there, and what apart from training, what all you could manage, you could achieve.
So I guess I was following your footsteps, where I was trying to look at a lot of architecture around, and you say contacts always help. So we created, while I was working at Mindspace. Firstly, Mindspace gave us a good pay, and they totally pampered us also, and they gave us excellent.
Food also.
Food, yes, food too. And work obviously was good. One thing that I learned at Mindspace was the first, actually when I joined there, they did not know that my parents are architects or anything. So it was much later that they visited, and then Mohe came to know that, okay, Arey Sanjeev mulgi hai. So I was happy about it, that my portfolio got selected independently. And so in Mindspace, I was in the habit of asking, when is the end date of submission? And in Mindspace, they said just as soon as possible. Soon as possible. So there was no submission line that I could push to and say, okay, apna last minute pressure khali kaam kar. So one was always working with 100% efficiency, which was one great learning. And then of course they gave us access, because of Mohe, to many of his projects. And then I connected with several other friends who were interning in other offices, whether it was Mistry, Kanade, whoever, Architecture Paradigm. And then we created this group, and then on Saturdays and Sundays, we would even Kukki Subramaniam's project. So we would visit several projects on weekends. And plus, I also pursued photography there. I joined a group which would then, with them, there were many good photographers in that group. We traveled across Bangalore markets, Pla markets and Haji markets, and then there was Russell market.
I think that was Bangalore Photography Club.
Yeah, Bangalore Shutterworks.
Bangalore Shutterworks.
So I had a parallel group there of photography, and that helped me explore Bangalore a lot. And I enjoyed that time genuinely, with the exposure and intense work at Mindspace. Also, work was intense. Thankfully, I was under Mohiki Chhatra Chaya ke niche, so a little bit of sketch, and then I would develop it on 3D, and it taught me a lot. And I also picked up good skills as well.
I speak a little bit of Kannada also, probably.
That was in the second part where I started working, that I picked up more Kannada.
So after your internship, you returned to college, completion of college. You graduated.
Yes.
After that? You graduated in 2006?
2007.
So the training was in 2006, 14 years back.
Yes.
And 2007 you passed out,
Yes.
but you graduated.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
After that, we can continue. What happened after you graduated?
Yeah. So let me tell you that my resume is very fancy, that I was a top ranker and all. I was not a consistent top ranker at all. It was only in the last year that last exam, but then it comes on the resume and it looks good on the website. So that's how it has come here. And secondly, I don't think the marks really matter also. They really don't. In fact, one of the grounding experiences was that when I was getting a first class or a distinction in my last year and my training was happening really well, I had actually flunked one design paper, which was housing. And because I was too involved in my NASA work and I was not attending enough, and it was very grounding, and it was excellent that it happened. That it taught me.
Failure makes you
Absolutely,
more strong.
failure makes you very strong. It teaches you that you have to finally
Pull up your socks.
Pull up your socks and not give reasons that NASA la gele hote and whatever else that you're doing. Finally, work is work. And it was a great design, so it did come out well. So at the end, it pushed up my morale.
Yeah. So you came back, you graduated, and after that, did you think of? Did you apply for any foreign university? Did you want to do any MRs, or what are your ideas?
Well, I guess they both haven't done their MRs, and they always said that garaz naste. But anyways, I was keen on doing 1 year of work at least. And their practice, joining them never occurred to me because I was always keen on learning new stuff. So I thought this is the best opportunity to look at other firms. And there also, his influence played a part, because he suggested a few names, of which Opolis was one. Rahul Gore had taken my interview, and they had a Pune office, luckily. And so it helped me be in Pune. And I was also keen on doing a course with the Ecological Society in Pune on natural resources and restoration. So this had come to know from some friends that it's a good course, and just out of curiosity I joined, and I was totally blown away by that one course. And I used to do the job during the day, and then the evenings I would go for the course every day. Rahul had allowed me that time in the evenings to leave a little half an hour early or something. And that course actually changed me a lot. And I was always a workaholic. As in the moment I graduated from college, I think I must have taken 1 month break, and June, July, I was back to work. I immediately started working. I was so enthusiastic about joining Opolis and working. And I was doing the society course. But this society course actually, the first time gave me this entire perspective about resources, about ecology, about sustainability. And all these were not buzzwords at the time. They perhaps are now, but at that time they were not buzzwords. So
sustainability was not that talked about.
It wasn't really talked about. And when I was doing the course, I somehow felt that what I'm doing as an architect, I don't really have a reason for it. So there was no ideology that I was following. It was more of, okay, aesthetically pleasing. that this is looking good, so we are doing it. Because you are in a large firm, you are just basically following instructions. So I couldn't really associate with the work that I was doing, and so I quit my job eventually after about a year. And I was quite confused at that point of time. What
After
I should
that,
do.
you went to.
So yeah, I was wanting to explore. I wasn't sure what I'll do. With my batchmates, we had worked on one project which was earth bags and bamboo. So it was hands-on work. But that experience told me that I don't want to be a kurta-clad laborer at site through my life ahead. So that was one experience that
That was good enough.
that was no. I mean, I would still like new
Yeah.
experiences, but not. See, at that time, you're trying to see how your practice in your future will be. Those are the stepping stones. So that sort of said that okay, if I have to plan my life for the next 20 years, I don't want to be continuously with a fauda and a kudal in my hand. My skills are different. I'm good at designing. I'm good at sketching. I'm good at running an office also, perhaps. So maybe there are other ways of looking at sustainability and.
So what did you do after you quit the job?
After I quit the job,
Do you need prompting?
yes, I need prompting.
You went to Auroville.
Yes. So I went to Auroville to
I'm
do the.
more prepared than her.
I went to Auroville to do a course in CSED and earth construction. And there, while I was there, I was also applying for GRE, and I was giving my GMAT. I gave GMAT, I got a great score. I gave GRE, I got a decent enough score to get into an Ivy League. And I was involved in this course in Auroville. And in Auroville, I looked around at the entire batch of students who were working with Satprem in that 2-3 works course. And 50% of them were foreigners who had come from various places to learn earth construction from him. And we had a great time, but I observed that here I'm trying to get admission into Berkeley, or I'm trying to get admission into Prater for earth construction, for developmental economics. And finally, what's happening is happening in India, and these foreigners are coming here. And beyond this point, there was one friend of mine over there, Adrian Wiesenhauser. So this American fellow, he told me that, do you know this architect called Chitra Vishwanath in Bangalore? And I'm like, no, I don't know. So that was another shocking thing that अरे ये बंदा बाहर से आता है हमको बोलता है हमारे कंट्री में क्या चल रहा है about earth construction. So that sort of gave me a perspective, and I quit my I stopped pursuing my going abroad plans, and I decided to take up a job, and then I applied to Chitra Vishwanath in Bangalore, and so that was my second stint of work, where I thought working hands-on and looking at urban answers to sustainability would be great. So that was my.
How was your Bangalore to experience? Otherwise, not necessarily about working in bio, but otherwise.
Well, I think firstly, this being a dad-daughter thing, I should say that his influence was always there. Even if I was away in Bangalore, I was trying to keep my eyes and ears open, as he would have always advised me, and not be judgmental about anything. Like, this is something bad or this is something good. Keep your eyes and ears open and learn as much as you can. So there's no good style, there's no bad style, there's no good and bad in how things appear. But try and learn as much as possible was the underline. So my own experience was excellent. I think, again, another grounding experience where you realize that you don't know as much as you think you do. So half the time goes in just learning the brick and mortar basics of structure, of drawing making, everything. And I think that is the time when I learned the Kannada also. Because I wanted to ensure that even centerline drawings, when I was on site with labor, I could understand the numbers and ensure good communication. So it was a great experience. Bangalore too was very learning.
And when you returned, we had some shortage of staff. When she came back from Bangalore, 2 of her senior staffs had left at that time. And you came and joined us for a few few days.
Yes.
Few days or few months.
Few months, 2, 3,
And
4, 5 months.
That's where I realized that I can't work with her. Probably she also did the same. She got the realization she can't work with my temperament. Probably my mother was quite happy that she had joined office for a brief time, but she was helpful. But being a daughter, sometimes it is advantageous and sometimes it is disadvantageous also. So I'm much better with hiring outside staff who are like my kids. You can tell your opinion about that.
No, see, my mom and dad both being architects, they do carry a lot of work home. And when I was just before coming here also, I was remembering की even जेवणाच्या ताटात पण design discuss झालंय. की असं आमटी भात थोडा बाजूला करून त्याच्यावर mom and dad both discussing that the detail can be this and the detail can be that. So, and I was not always very happy with that. The same people being at home. In fact, he can paint for 2 hours and then he comes down the staircase and he'll just start off with my mom saying, alternatively, आपण हे design करू शकतो असं. So it's like a continued conversation. There's no end to it, and they are completely tuned into each other as to what design is happening, which client is calling. So I guess that is where we sort of felt that maybe we can't work together. But actually, now that I'm staying in a different house, my husband is not an architect. Now I yearn for his companies. When they do come home to play with my daughter, at that time I'm like, I want to borrow 5 minutes and help me, give me some feedback on this design. So that does happen now.
It's a win-win situation.
It's a win-win situation.
Okay, do you have any photographs to show? Or, Acha, tell me, how did you start M+P? That major thing I want to ask you. And how you and Meghna thought of creating a company.
So my partner Meghna Kulkarni we've been together since college, and though we both had very different streams of work. She was in Pune, I was in Bangalore, and then earlier also she was in Auroville. And we both started off on our own, and at some point of time we realized that it makes sense to work together, and that we enjoy working together. That is very important. There is a trust factor, and I think the enjoyment part overrules everything. That even if you're going for site visits which are outside Pune, if 2 girls traveling together always makes it easier and convenient. And for design, it takes it at least 5 notches ahead, because you have that feedback, which I had seen my parents also do. That you have to strip that design in and out, and what works, what doesn't work, can this work better. So that feedback is always important. You being in your own world and your own design doesn't take it that ahead. But when you have that feedback from somebody else who's equal and not any lesser, so my staff would not perhaps give me that feedback which I wanted. So I guess as a team, it works.
So you take a lot of outside works also. So
Yeah.
in that way, they're done us, because we work only in Pune. That's the jurisdiction we have decided to work limitations. But they are more adventurous. They work in any part of the world.
We would love to. We
We
haven't
would love
still
to.
stepped ashore, but I would love to.
Yeah. How do you manage your family life and professional life?
Actually, it's not very, it is difficult, but I think when you're at work, and where you're coming from and what you're leaving behind, whether it's a child, whether it's ailing parents, whether it is nobody, it's just a single home, doesn't matter. So I just try and make a lot of backup plans for my family, so that I can give the full 8 hours that I wish to give at work. I think that is the best.
Yeah.
And my husband is very supportive.
It's almost 45 minutes now. So I just one last thing. What do you wish to do in future? I mean, do you have any dreams, or you want to do something which you not achieved until now, which you want to do now?
Well, I think it was one wish that I wanted to go abroad and work, and it's still in my mind. I don't think there is any ceiling of age or having family or anything that stops me. I really feel that maybe at some point of time I would love to take a break of a year or two and enjoy working out abroad, and just to further expand my horizon and see what is happening elsewhere.
So it could be probably getting one more degree also.
Maybe, yes.
Working with architect or education wise.
Yes, education wise also. Something like that. And maybe having a Pune office, which is like a Bangalore office, which also gives good food, good payments, and a slightly more professional setup that I could call, upgrading style of the office.
Status of
Yeah,
people.
it's like Pune offices are very small. No, our office is also very small. Thankfully, they gave us one room out of their office, so we packed in one studio, 5 people in one little room. But that gives us the advantage of having them around, having shared resources, and a great library, and such a great resource that he is with his details. And so I think I did not talk about it, of how my father actually inspires. I keep telling our office interns and architects also. So here I think we have sort of done about 45 minutes to an hour of our talk. So we can go ahead with questions, and I can share some images.
I think you share
of
the
which
images and then we can
have
go for
spoken
question
till
and
now.
answer session. 5 minutes is okay.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Please share the images you would like to see. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you, Nini ma'am. I'll just. This is how my father has helped us. So that's our little office where this is the room. Can you see? Are you able to see, ma'am?
Yes,
yes,
ma'am.
Pooja. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this was the office studio that we have. The one room that we balkauli asami manto. And details. This is something, because how much ever you work, I have concluded that architects who have mastered steel and fabrication details are true masters. I feel my dad is superb at his detailing skills.
Your mother
section.
and dad.
Both my parents. And even with large planning, they do more of interiors. But if I actually end up studying their architectural projects, there is so much to learn, and they do it extremely easily. It's like it's they do it with a lot of ease. That is all I can say. Well, I might be struggling.
This sketch is just to explain, to get myself clear. It's not something fancy sketch which I do to show it to clients. Nowadays there are SketchUps and 3D Max. So this type of sketches is either to explain it to our staff how to do a rendering, or this is for my own idea how the things will be.
But earlier you used to do.
Earlier, because there was no computer in this time.
So this one project of a farmhouse that he had done much earlier, I must have been in school, has left an impression on me, because I think Jayant Harap had done the landscape, and for the first time I saw how there was a stance to the whole project. This paving, these large blocks and the lawn in between, and the level differences. For the first time, I think this was one of those moments where I felt that my parents are architects and they are really contributing. Even the simplicity of the plan, the way he does his drawings, neatness of it, and of course, if I look at my collection of, I have a folder from Sanjamita where all these random pictures of details are kept. So this is how when I visit their sites, I take pictures of these silly details of, dar kasa laglay, he kai waparlay, te kai waparlay. And of course, he largely inspires with his connect with people and his effort at any starting urban sketchers, starting a new skill, trying to develop a new technique. Oh, my connection is unstable. New technique, whether it is trying something new with pottery, with wire, with watercolors. This is one of his latest paintings.
Becoming emotional now.
There are 2-3 more shares, but if you allow, only that. Up to you.
Shares?
There are
Yes,
one or two more
sure,
that I
ma'am.
can do. Okay,
Yes.
maybe I'll see it.
Definitely, we would love to see.
Okay. Just give me a minute.
You know, sometimes the picture while talking becomes a kind of hindrance. You know, it breaks the flow of talking. So what we decided, we'll talk, and at the end we will show some images and probably one-liner comments on that.
So I did not talk about this, but after I came back from biome also, when I came, I was still wondering maybe I should what should I be doing again? And I did a quick trip to Narmada Valley to see the kind of activism that happens there.
Oh,
That's Medha Patil.
Medha Patil.
Yes. It was a very short trip, but it gave me a perspective on what really happens in what are the techniques and all. It gave me a perspective about. I was very close to becoming very idealistic to the point of being an activist. But somewhere first, Pune taught me a lot of things. I came back to Pune and I started doing rainwater harvesting for our house, for a couple of other houses. And we come from a very different zone, is what I realized. In Bangalore, you know, houses were stuck together. So the setbacks were very tight and they wouldn't have big trees. So this was Meghna and me. This is our website. So in Bangalore, that's me and my daughter. We travel, and this is how I nowadays sketch or pursue my little goals during lockdown, especially. And I love pets, so we have several, and that's my husband. Yes. So
We'll open it out to question and answer. So if there is anything to be elaborated, we can do that. If there are any questions, you can read it out.
Hi. So there is a question from Simone Bhagat. She's asking which global architect's work has influenced the most?
global influence.
Both of us?
Yeah, both of us. Both of you all,
Oh.
sorry.
First, I will take or you take?
You-
No, it's your day today.
I used to follow Shigeru Ban's work and Calatrava's also. And latest, I like Bjarke Ingels. I think it's, and recently, last year I traveled to US and it opened my eyes to so many different architects and great works. Of course, the context is very different, but with what they have and what they're doing, and I also learned so much. I actually saw the Seagram's building, and I was so impressed. So even these old buildings actually inspire, even though the architects are not so much in practice. And recently, I did 2-3 years back, I did a Spain trip. So there also, Gofil's work was great. Yeah, your list.
No, Simon probably wouldn't know these names because she's not an architect. But for me, Jeffrey Baba is one of the very close architects which I follow for his grounding to the context and other things. Then Tadawando I like for his simplicity and very straight spaces and nice. I like Alvaro Siza because of his purity in whites and other things. I don't like too much of fancy stuff, you know, the shapes coming out, building warped up and all that. I think my personality. So I like something which is simple, which I can relate to, and the scale wise also.
Yes.
Can you hear
Thank
us?
you.
Yes, yes.
This is a question for Pooja ma'am. Being a female, architecture is demanding for everyone, but women face added challenges. Can you relate to this?
Well, I don't know if this is the correct stance to take. This has been asked to me in several magazines also, where there's a women's edition and then they want to feature you. But actually, your work speaks, and then it doesn't matter whether you're a woman or a man. You are speaking on behalf as you're an architect. So I don't think being a woman really affects what you're working at. It's finally you're learning what you're giving at it, the effort that you're doing.
I mean, her upbringing, we never really separated it out, that men's work and women's work and all that.
No,
Because
not
she's,
about that.
yeah, and
See,
she's observing both of us now.
Yeah, my mother also
My
lost-
mother climbs the slabs and checks the reinforcement, even at
Her work, yeah.
you know, in senior stage also. So
Yeah, they very
your
easily climb
mother.
10 floors for of
Side
an
division.
incompleted building, and then so yeah.
So it doesn't stop her that way. If that was the question.
Yes, yes. There was never a ceiling, and there never somehow I never associated to that part.
Thank you. So Ashwin Lovikar wants to ask Pooja ma'am, do you think having architect parents is a boon or otherwise? And whose work has influenced your style of work the most? From
Between
both of
my
your parents. Yeah.
No, I think they work as a team. It's very difficult to distinguish between them. They absolutely work as a team, and I think that's why the products are that great. It's a boon, obviously. Of course, it's a boon. The main part I've already discussed earlier. You know that when you go somewhere and then they start comparing you. Sometimes just taking their name opens doors for, especially at suppliers when I don't have the correct contacts, when I'm looking for, अरे हे exactly कुठून घ्यायचं असतं, I don't know the market so well, I'm a novice at something. That is when it's very easy for me, where I just have to barge into their cabin and ask them, have you done this before, do you know a supplier who gives this? And they willingly share all their information. I just have to say, very rarely I use that, where I go to some shop and I say, I'm Rita Joshi's daughter, or I'm Sanju Joshi's daughter, but that does open doors when I need it.
The only thing which I want to say is that Ashwin, for you, see, I do sketching. I go on every Sunday. We go and sketch with Urban Sketches Pune, and I do a lot of calligraphy in office and other things. But Pooja has never joined us for any of these activities. For her projects, Ghar Ki Murgi Dal Barabar. So people pay me to teach them these things, and she can get it very free and but she's not interested.
No, I mean, see, I'm not saying I'm not interested.
I never seen you doing calligraphy.
Yeah, I haven't tried that. My handwriting is, I think it's a block.
Let's accept that you are not. Okay.
I like to sketch, and I will
Yeah.
sketch. Maybe I'll try something
Oh,
new.
yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we have a question for you. So, what are the qualities that you've learned from your parents which help you make decisions in architecture, or what has influenced you from your parents?
Well, I think they have sometimes when you go to them if I go to them with some problem of some site management especially, that is what they have helped me as in coordination. Ensure that so and so people are in line. Call this guy beforehand only. Ensure that he is available. Because ऐन वेळेस असं होतं की मग हा येणारच नाही आणि मग तो होईल. So this is very practical advice which I would get. I mean, which I would have got had I worked with somebody for like 7-8 years. So I bank on them for this advice. Where in casual conversation also, if I'm telling them about some site management thing, they very nicely help me. And of course, they have a style quotient which I envy. I don't think I can match to that. So it's innately stylistic.
But that's our style of
Yes.
profession.
Yes. So they help me with that.
I can never design in mud and mud plaster and things like.
And if you ever have to work with your parents, who would you prefer to work with more, your mother or your father? Yashoda Joshi
No,
has
they
asked this
absolutely
question.
work together. Typically, if it's a partnership, one would say, you take up these 2 projects, I would take up these 2 projects. They don't do that. So they're all the time together. It's very difficult to separate them.
No, we work together. We always say कि जिथे एक इंजिन ची गरज तिकडे आम्ही 2 इंजिन लावतो on a straight road also, And if I wish my wife was wish in the sense in terms of finances, if she was doctor or CA or something, I would have a double income. Now we work on same project, we get the same fees, but the clients get 2 architects at the cost of 1 architect. But that's
No,
okay. But we enjoy going to sites together. We take a break at Rupali or Vaishali, eat something, go. So we enjoy the life together.
And I think their work gets done like this. They're super fast. So 3 projects can get over in a jiffy like that. So with 2 people working, I think work
Yeah,
also
that
gets
helps.
done.
Yeah.
And what have you learned from your father and your mother which helps you in making design decisions, both of them respectively?
Design decisions. Uh, well, I think they give more practical aspects because of their experience. I also have good suggestions sometimes, but they're very careful when they give suggestions. They very strictly say this is a suggestion. Don't take it to heart. Take it as much as you want it. You may, in fact, before it comes to me also, there's one fight I know which has happened between the 2 of them, where Papa must have said to Kashala Tila Sangte, and my mother will be like, no, it's good, na? I mean, she'll come to know something more. So before it comes to me also, it has been filtered twice. Then it comes to me, and then perhaps I filter it more. So, but I do learn from both. Mother is very good with colors, aesthetics, practical aspects of site management, and my father is super with art, and he has a sense of even doing things with extreme low costs also. And because of his travel, he has a sense of the kind of work that we do also, whether if it is, even if it is low cost, even if it is exposed brick, even if it is mud, it's some real very basic railing. Um, his aspects really come into place. He visits our studio once in a while, and he gives some comments on it, and they're very helpful.
I'll tell you, her office is outside. We have to enter through a studio to come to my cabin. So every time I go out, if I see something on the screen, immediately I find something wrong in that, Being a teacher, the first thing which I notice is something is wrong in scale, something. So that much I note. If the staff is sitting and somebody is doing some drawing wrongly, I point out that this is something wrong. You better check. If it is correct, no problem. But my eye says that something is gone wrong. And most of the time it has gone wrong.
Yeah.
So that helps.
It is in the process of being corrected when he spots it, and it's like he shoots it. There it is.
You better think about that detail, or you do something else. But that is only a fleeting thing. I don't go and give advice just like that. But whenever she calls me, we are always there to help her. So if she's in trouble, she comes to us, and then we can sort it out. But we take a lot of her help in terms of technology, Wi-Fi, something is not working. Even for today's meeting, it's on her laptop which we are working on. So that kind of help we take her from her. And younger generation is terrific. I mean, they are so good at most of the things that I look at her. In fact, we are going to use her one of the details which she did at one of the house that we are going to repeat in our screen, that big screen and metal screen kind of thing.
We are all the time using their details.
But we also try to use their details. If it is good, why not? And now she is practicing for last 8 or 9 years, so
Thank
kind
you.
of maturity is setting in. Yes. Go ahead.
Richard.
Mokashi. Hello.
Yes.
We have a question from Swanand Mokashi. He's asking what challenges you face while coordinating with building services.
Building services. Well, of course, every new project is a new learning. So, I mean, I know that he has handled projects where there are complex services like swimming pools and VRV systems, and that's very basic, but still much more than that, and a lot of overlapping. So sometimes when I'm handling services, I do find that I'm falling short of info. But I invest a lot in books, even if it is time saver standards or the latest PDFs which are available. And I try and get, and one thing, they had a very basic system of keeping, it was very well organized, that all materials, whether it was air conditioning, whether it was glass, any material was very well filed with its corresponding providers and their numbers and contacts and dates. So we also did an entire, we did a digitized system. So we have an Excel sheet where we document every single rate, material, supplier, and I cross-check with them all the time. So even if any service-related query is tough on us, we know whom to access and ask our questions. So,
I have a different take on this. The technology services part keeps changing. I mean, today it's home automation, tomorrow it will be something else. But your methods of coordinating these agencies should be perfect. You know, what comes first, what comes later, what is going to create problem in structure. So that you should be clear of. The technology will keep changing, the new materials will keep coming, new services are being introduced. There were no Wi-Fi earlier, now there are Wi-Fi. There was no lighting automation, now there is lighting automation. But how to tackle this together as a captain of the ship? That is your job, and that is what you should learn. Because these things will keep learning. You will keep learning different services. But to coordinate them together is your job. And there are experts who teach you and guide you and do things. You have to be open to ideas, and you have to have a mind to accommodate all of them together. That's my take.
Somewhere I feel that as architects, no, we are forgetting the main skill of imagination, of what you do in trying to imagine and sketch something, where you can actually imagine the entire building. If there are 5 layers of services, I can imagine where the pipes are going to clash. Because I have that sense of imagination which has been built over 3, 4, 5 years of being in college. So that imagination we should bank on. We should not always depend on high-end softwares for checking the overlaps and the problems. You have that sense of imagination in you to foresee those problems which will come. So I think one should bank on those skills. Yeah, is our connection weak? Because we can't see one of the screens.
Can you hear us?
Yes, they can. Okay, great. Okay, yeah. Girish Tapas is mute. Yours is mute.
Girish is on mute.
Hi. We have a question for Pooja ma'am from Tejashri. What was your BR thesis topic and what influenced you to take that topic?
I think I was just back from Mindspace and they were doing large projects. And I was always interested in construction materials, like various materials. And I had this brilliant idea. I mean, I thought it was brilliant that you map all the materials in our country, even if it is brick or cement or steel, which are very large, but smaller ones. So let's say a particular kind of grass which is used for mud plaster, or a particular kind of wave which is used for some color, clay or something. So I wanted to do like an India map, and I was hoping that, you know, maybe there would be some sort of a building where in Pune I could go and see these basic materials also. So my subject for thesis was a construction materials mall, and it was meant to be more like a market initially, like a Mandi or an agricultural produce market. But it ended up becoming more like an interiors materials mall, because over the process, and I think that was also a learning, that you start with one idea, but you end up doing something else, because you also realize with your research and your case studies, there was never something done like this before. So what mattered was that at the end, we came up with a interiors mall, which also had the entire supply chain possibility of large trucks coming in and large slabs of stone. So more like a better version of our timber market, or a better version of our Raivar Pet, where a slightly organized market of construction materials was what my thesis was. Was there another question with it? I know there was something on the thesis.
Yes. And as a parent yourself, are there any learnings of you growing up that you now share with your daughter with respect to art and design mostly?
I try to. I try to.
He tries with my daughter to introduce some art, and I allow her to just be with more with brick and mortar and play around in the sand. And my daughter has quite presently her thing is that she wants to be a builder, because she's building blocks all the time.
No, I think as a parents, she's asking about parents only. No?
Yeah, she's asking as a parent. I think she posed the question to me that as a parent, what do you instill now in your child?
Oh, okay, that was for you.
Ah.
Oh, okay.
You already instilled enough now. Yeah.
So you started the Urban Sketcher Club and now it is a great success. Can you say something about it, please?
No, because I was sketching on my own, and firstly I was sketching as an architect. Then after so many years of doing sketching as an architect, I realized that now new softwares have come. I don't need to do any perspectives to show it to client or get it approved from clients. So this SketchUp and all that does that job. So I shifted from architectural sketching to art sketching, where I can be free of any burden and I can sketch whatever I want to. That's how I started. But on tours, it helps me to sketch because sketching leads you to observe things. You know, and observation in architecture is very important. You start looking at the things more carefully when you start sketching about any of the details. So that was the that I still keep doing. But now I'm doing art sketching, which is urban sketches, is basically about the art. You go out and on location you have to sketch. So I was doing and going and doing watercolors and acrylic colors and crayons and all that on outdoor. But then I came across this organization, which is worldwide organization, which is Urban Sketches Pune, and I founded it in Pune as a Pune chapter. Now a lot of students from your college, other colleges also join. I'm sure that students like to come and sketch, but because of their submissions and the deadlines, they can't be so consistent. But whatever they come, they learn, they enjoy, they see different principals coming, different professors coming, and sketching, and it's a good fun. 2 hours on Sunday morning is really lovely, and for me, it is a kind of what shall I say? It's kind of a meditation for me. I just get engrossed in sketching and I forget for 2 hours there is tension in the world.
I remember this because I think I was carrying at that time. I was pregnant and I was at their house, and he had asked me that I have been traveling. He was saying that he has traveled so much I think he had done Malaysia, Bhutan, and a couple of places with the Urban Sketchers Global. And his work had also featured in the book, the Urban Sketchers book, and such amazing works were there. And he's like, I want to start this in Pune. And I'm like, you want to be a leader of a group? He's like, no, the entire part of the group is that there is no leader, that everybody leads themselves. And that's the whole point of the group, that anybody who's interested can come in. So the whole drafting of that group was that no form, no payment, no nothing. You are interested in sketching, you could come. So the openness of the group was very welcoming. And I think as a thought that he had it was, I totally appreciated that. That yeah, if you're doing it, you should do it this way. That, and just keep it so transparent and so open that anybody can join. So, yeah.
We have another question for Sanjeev sir. You take the ST bus in the morning to unknown destinations after reading, and after that you eat out misal and meet other people, do sketches and return back in the evening. Do you still do that?
Yeah, but nowadays the histories are stopped. See, the things were different before COVID. So where I could go to Swargate and climb on any Lal Dabba, Lal Pari they call it as, and reach any destination and come back in the evening. But nowadays I will have to think twice before I take that again. I'm sure Girish has asked a question.
Yeah, Sanjeev, you never said that after urban sketching what you do after doing sketching. I think that is more important, I think.
Yeah, I know. Actually, we have a parallel WhatsApp group. One is Urban Sketches Pune group, and one is Foodie Sketchers group. So whenever we go to Old City and other places, before going to that place, we discuss which famous restaurant is there, what is the specialty. We had discussed amongst ourselves, and we try to make it to either to eat omelette or misal, whatever is famous in that area we go. If we are in camp, we go to Marzurin. If we are in Pate somewhere, we go to Bedekar misal or Vaidya misal, this type of things.
Yeah, I used to do this with photography.
Yeah.
So now the secret is out, which mostly wife doesn't know at home.
Yes.
Yeah, I will ask Malika to ask next question.
Yes, sir. So related to sketching only, we've seen a couple of your works and your projects where you've tried to integrate your artwork with your architectural aspects and architectural elements. So could you elaborate more on that?
See, sometimes clients ask me that we want your input. Nowadays, what has happened is that my border of being an architect and artist it's fused. Both the things are fused now. There is no separation as such that I'm an architect and an artist. So automatically, while I'm in the design process, some art is in my design. So that we show it to client. If they like, then I do it myself, or we engage some artists to do the thing. But yeah, we want art to be part of our life, and we try and do it very locally. We don't source things from China and things like that. So we basically would like to promote Indian art and Indian, even the paintings. There are so many types of paintings in India. Madhubani is there, all this folk art and other things. So we try and promote that. And sometimes clients want me to give them some of my painting sketches. Then we frame them and put them. Sometimes it's professionally done. Sometimes it is just friendship, because after 2 years of working with your clients, you always become friends. It becomes very informal relation at the end of the job. So we give them things. I make special mugs for them. I get my things, their names printed on mugs, or maybe a sketch on the cushion, and then we give them at the home warming ceremony. So that's how the art has become part of our interiors and architecture also.
Right. So you just said that you give them mugs with paintings and things like that. So, sir, we've seen a couple of your works on painting on different products also. So, what is your experimentation in those projects? Painting on, I've seen a few shoes, and I think you did a mask in the COVID situation. So, could you talk about that? And
I mean, sketching on any surface is fun. No? So I'm just working out or trying out different. Recently in COVID, I sketched on tile, bathroom tile. I have a bathroom which has got white tiles. So I sketched with acrylic, and which can be washed and cleaned. So that was one permanent surface I got. Wall, if you do, you can't rub the paint. So on tiles, you can always wash, and like painter does it with his patrano, you clean the thing. So that gave me a experimental ground to try out different things. So first I did some sketches, then I did calligraphy, and then some acrylic paints. So that was kind of experiments. I did it on shoes. Actually, I got one video. If you want, I can share it. It is done on fabric calligraphy. If you have time,
yes, sir, definitely. If you could share, that would be great.
Show it.
Oh, should I share?
Yeah, I think we'll show one clipping since we are on that subject. Yeah, this is.
One second. Let me share it first.
This I'm doing calligraphy on fabric. I've done few saris and some stoles. This is 1.5 minutes video.
You learned during COVID, no?
This one short time.
No, but stitching together.
Ah,
music,
yeah, music and all that. Someone posing for me. And that was a small clipping just to show my experiments on fabric and other things.
Yes, sir. It was lovely to see. Very interesting work. Sir, another question is regarding your sketching. We saw a few sketches also from the images that you shared with us. So, how would you say that sketching enriches architecture? How it influences the process of designing?
No, that's as I explained earlier. See, you observe things better if you draw something. Like it's like writing. You know, when you write, your ideas become clear. You know, the moment you put pen on the paper and you start writing, you start editing the words, you start making proper sentences. It's similar with sketching. When you start sketching some detailing, there are two types of sketching. You observe and you sketch, and sketching for designing. For that, you have to develop your skill. So for developing your skill, you have to first see something and then sketch. So that connects the reality and sketch. And using those skills, then as an architectural student or architect, then you can start imagining things and you can sketch your imagination, which is not existing, but that will become a reality after it gets built. So there are two types of sketches, but to practice this is there. And you know, whenever I travel to any country, I carry either a tape with me and a sketch pad. So if I find some detailing, I just measure and sketch it there and then itself. So that really makes you observe things and record things properly. So sketching always helps in that sense. Not necessarily sketching has to be very beautiful looking, good looking. It has to be framed and it has to be gifted. That comes much later. What is that you have to inculcate habit of sketching first. And once you are hooked onto sketching, then it's really good.
Sir, other than this, you also, so the video that we saw was of the calligraphy that you did, right?
Yes.
And so could you also share the, what you painted right now in the COVID situation on the toilet walls that you were talking about?
I don't think I have the video there.
You have? No? Okay, sure.
Let me try. There are two videos.
Okay, if you could just see, please.
Yeah. Just check.
My art studio and square cutting.
No, that was the about exhibition. But you can show the art studio. So this is what. Yeah, this what the video you are going to see is the room which Pooja had occupied as her room from since childhood, and it was her room for architectural college also during architecture college and during schools. And now I have taken over it as my studio because she shifted out of our house 8 years back. So this is a video I'm going to share you, which you will see the transformation from that room to the stage 1 to the stage now. And you can see some art which I did it in COVID that time. But the tile ones I don't have.
Yeah. My lovely test. It's already sharing.
Oh, okay.
It's playing. Okay. Pottery wheel coming soon here.
Yes.
That's interesting.
So this is my day nowadays. Whenever I get time after office hours, it's literally has turned into art studio. Pooja has got all the right to come and stay here anytime.
Painted the fan.
But the dust. So I got a permanent hanging system there. So Meeta loves changing the home every Sunday. So all these frames come out on Sundays. Yeah. Good time.
Yeah, I felt.
Sir, one last question. Could you talk about your experience traveling in Bhutan? That we said.
Bhutan. I've been
Yes,
to
sir.
Bhutan twice. I've been to Bhutan twice with a gap of 6 years. And what shall I say? I think it's one of the most happy country, I will say. And you also feel happy when you go there. You know, because it has got happiest, happy quotient is at a very high, I think 100% happy, 100% green country. Very nice people, very soothing to eye the country is, and very consistent looking country. That's what I realized. I wouldn't say architecturally I would take any from that country as such, because we will never be able to design those type of buildings or that technology we can use it here. But as a spirit of architecture or spirit of looking harmonious, that is very important. And they really love being local there, the people. They will wear their own national dress. The food, they have their special foods. And beautiful country to sketch and go as a traveler. You can go alone, you can go with group, you can go for honeymoon, you can go with big group, sketcher group. I had gone there twice. Once with we took Urban Sketchers as a trip there. So we were about 30 people and 20 students from BNCA. It was a group of say 50 people. And earlier that I had gone with a group of artists, which we had 7 or 8 of artists. We had got together and gone there just to explore the countryside of Bhutan. Actually, the whole Bhutan is countryside. But out of that also we selected some places which were really out of the main Thimphu and Paro region, the interiors of Bhutan. And I think it's a lovely country. Even as a student to visit, it's really nice because you know the way of life you experience there. You know, that is very much important nowadays. Everybody is rushing so much in India and you know trying to meet target. And if you go there, you feel okay. That's really a good life. You know, you come to grounds on in that country. You feel very nice and very happy and contented when you go there. And we should bring back some of that to India in your life. That's what I felt. And when I visited twice, I'm really relaxed and you know I do things in that pace. You know, there's no deadlines to follow every time.
Yes, sir. Sir, along those lines, we have another question about your experience with the ornithology course that you did and how it is related to photography, and what was your experience doing that course?
Oh, this was a secret actually. Nobody knew I have done that course. Ornithology. Oh yeah, the Satish Pandey's course is there, Isha Foundation. And somebody told me that there is some course. You know, I generally like to do something like Pooja also does. Apart from your main architecture thing, if there is something else, like there is Indology course or there is ornithology course. So I've done all that because I get free time in the evening. Generally, our working pattern is that I believe that French people are the smartest people because they work 29 hours in a week and they're most productive. They work from 8 o'clock in the morning. They are home at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then they have their 7-course dinner, lunch, or whatever it is. They drink wine. They go to. So that's the kind of life I would like to have. Not to drink wine and all that, but that's the time maximum you spend. So we work from 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And after 3 o'clock, although the office is open, I am free to explore my own things. So this was one of the courses which I joined as a extracurricular activity, you can say. And ornithology really helped me to look at the birds the species. It's quite intensive course in that sense, because it teaches you zoology also, birds anatomy and other things also. But at the same time, because you're not only observing, you are clicking the birds also. So I borrowed Pooja's camera with a long lens. I think 70-300 lens she had, tamarind lens, and I really enjoyed taking photographs of birds. But sadly, that has slightly taken backseat. But this year, I wanted to do a refreshing course in ornithology. It didn't happen because of COVID. But next year, I want to do it. I generally, one should go back to what you've done 10 years back. Even pottery, I want to revisit and do the pottery again. Take it ahead from that.
For a question for Pooja ma'am. So the course that you did with the ecologist, Professor Goye, so how has that course influenced your architectural thinking, and how has that helped you?
Well, Reena and I both did this course, and it actually gave us a perspective into energy, where entropy, energy, landscape. We were with a bunch of people who were biodiversity specialists, who were from varied fields, and very few architects in that course. And this was about understanding everything about sustainability, also in terms of the economy, building economics, something that architects always tend to forget. That one laborer who's working, what are his economics when he's charging you? When you are suggesting a certain material to a client, what are the background thoughts behind it? That it's easily available, what is the transport cost, who are the people who are going to do it? Where is that material getting manufactured? What are the energy investments in getting that material manufactured? So all of this, along with the plants and animals that you're displacing, what are you disturbing? Is it really worth? And a slightly larger picture, not just of your land, of your building, of your community, but also at an India level, where is our economy heading towards? So resource management was like an answer to many of our problems that I did not have answers to. So there is poverty, and there is this, and there is that, but finally there is an answer in our resources that we already hold. And one of those resources is people, the other resources are the natural resources, the greens, the waters. So how to conserve? So for me, I was looking at, as an architect, how can I answer those? As an architect, how can I do the right thing by doing correct water management, by planting the correct kind of plants which are local, which are easy to maintain. So I'm not a plant lover as such. I don't invest time in gardening. But I really have, if I have the possibility, I would plant a big tree which is local, where birds will come, where butterflies will come, where the ecosystem will get propagated over there. So all these aspects suddenly came into my being because of this one course. And then I started exploring where architecture can contribute to this course. And that's how we believe in our practice, how we can be minimal, how we can be sensible in what we are doing. So there have been times where we have told certain clients that, don't build a farmhouse, because we have actually told them, you will not be able to maintain it. You will be spending a lot of energy in going there and trying to maintain a farmhouse. You would rather convert this to an interior project and do up your house properly, maybe buy another apartment, because this is your lifestyle. So also understanding your client and advising them the right thing is also a sort of a sustainable approach, is what we believe in. And of course, we are using a lot of natural materials, simplifying our approach in every way. Yes. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, another question is that you are always on time for every event, even for Sanjeev sir actually, that you're always on time for every event, and even for the IMDR cafe, you come on time. So how do you plan, and how do you go about everything that you do?
No, the basics of this is that I worked in a British firm when I was in Muscat, and they're very strict about timings. They will come at time in office, and they will leave also on time. that kind of got impressed on my mind when I was around 24, 25. So that habit I've carried. And in the process, I realized that if you do things on time, you can achieve a lot. You complete things on time, then you have got time to do something else. The saying goes that most busiest people are the more punctual and more they can do more. Most busiest people can do much more than the normal people who are just lingering around. So I think my philosophy is that if you do things on time, you give your best in that particular time. You don't have life which goes on and on. So you finish your works in that much time to the best of your ability, and that's it. Don't worry about something has not gone correct, something has gone wrong. So you have done your best. No, it's like flying a airplane. He has to take that decision that he has to land in that particular time and that particular sequence. He has no time to think, "Main karunga, wo karunga." So that's how I look at it. You finish the things, you have to fly, you have to fly, you have to land, you have to land. So that's the kind of philosophy I got about the time. But if you reach on time and leave on time, you can do a lot of things otherwise also.
Yes. Yes. So a question for Pooja ma'am. So what is next on your bucket list? What would you like to learn something new, pursue something? So what would you like to share about that?
Well, like I said, planning for some more travel, and well, on the learning bucket list, actually, I wanted to learn one latest software, perhaps either it was a Rhino or something, because I feel that I think upgrading oneself all the time is important.
Yes.
And if there is a technology which is restricting your imagination and your skill of designing something, one should be learning it. So I think that is on my bucket list of learning a few softwares and maybe hoping to work abroad.
Incidentally, I would like to mention Girish. We met Girish few days back for a cup of coffee, and he said that during COVID he has picked up so many things. The Zoom meetings and applying to upgrading his knowledge about video and how to go online and all that. So that attitude I really appreciate about Girish, that he is keeping with the times. He can do his own AutoCAD drawings. He can take out prints, he can attend Zoom meetings, he has conducted so many beautiful programs. So what Pooja is saying is that it's correct. You have to be off with the time and you have to keep up with the technology.
He learned to make all videos.
In this COVID period, I learned to make few videos. The videos which you saw, putting music, cutting it, pasting it, and that much I could learn. But now I think I should go on to some formal training and then maybe do some more videography.
I was never at home this long, so I think I learned to cook and be really in every aspect.
She has become very good cook in COVID times.
This is father's love, but I'm Atmanirbhar is the aim here.
There's one more last question. So what is it?
Yeah. So there was one of your posts which we saw recently. So there was. So when you were in your teens or when you were growing up, you said that did you feel the need for having a guru and the need for guidance and along those lines?
Well, me growing up,
Yes, sir.
but I don't have one guru as such. I think anybody who can teach me anything about anything is my guru. So I pick good points from everybody. Everybody is guru for me. Nature is the biggest guru. And then I don't have very idol, like I'm not following any particular architect, but I pick good things from different architects. And I think this guru thing sometimes is overrated even in architecture. This guru, that guru, and and if I ask that, do you know Peter Zumthor or do you know Calatrava? Nobody knows them. Only we architects talk about gurus. Peter Zumthor does this and Zahid does that and all that. They don't care. For them, I am the guru. For my clients, I am the best. they say, aapne ghar banaya, acha banaya. That is good enough for me. I mean, we architects sometimes we live in ivory towers and we keep talking about the philosophy. In real market, they just don't care. What you give them to their satisfaction and simple things, practical things, I'm more than happy. But for my learning, of course, I look for their details and things like that. But we talk amongst ourselves and we really put gurus at some height. People will not know about them. Only in our field we know that. It's good to have inspirations from them, but it's not the end. I'm saying it's not the end. Because they are guru, we don't become slaves. They are masters, so we are not slaves. They are masters, okay, they are masters, but we are also masters for our clients.
Yeah, so this is what Sanjay Joshi directly comes to you. And I remember you came back from Bombay. You are the same. Maybe between that 30, 40 years of time has gone. And now lovely daughter sitting next to you. And she speaks so well. I mean, I'm impressed. Probably in between I missed her. So thank you so much. And it was really enlightening discussion. And I'm sure in future also we'll do something more. Let her go another 10 years, and we can do, yeah, sure.
We would like to formally thank you, MNCA, Road, everybody is on the screen, Mallika and
She's Shivani.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And this idea has also been appreciated by so many of friends and messages that I got, that this is such a wonderful idea, that who thought of this? I'm like, this only Girish Kaka as far as thought about. But superb idea, and thank you for this opportunity. Yes. I would not have ever spoken so much otherwise.
Okay, it has gone very long now, so I think we should cut it here.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining, sir and ma'am.